The Spanish Civil War occurred between 1936 and 1939. The war consisted of two sides, the Nationalists and the Republicans. The Nationalists, also known as the rebels, were rebellious factions of the army, industry owners, landowners, the middle classes, and the Catholic Church. The Republicans were a group of workers, peasants, trade unions, the Spanish government, socialists, communists, and anarchists. When the war began, the rebels known more as the Nationalists sought out help from Italy and Germany and received it. The Republicans also sought out help, but from the Soviet Union and also volunteers from Europe and the United States. The war consisted of arguments for their political parties and debates about what is better for their country. A small communist movement, which were followers of the leader Joseph Stalin and his arch rival named Leon Trotsky, also fought for their beliefs. In the year 1933, the Spanish King Alfonso XIII enabled elections which voters ended up choosing to abolish the monarchy of the Republic. After the king went into exile, the Second Republic, which is the Republican government of Spain, made a command to end the liberals and socialists, and then renounced his throne soon after. In November, forces from the Republic gained control of the government through these elections. Socialists created a revolution with the miners of Asturias, which then Catalan nationalists decided to rebel in Barcelona, and that was the beginning of what became to be the Spanish Civil War. There were four causes that affected this war: agriculture, the church, the army, and regionalism. Spain was essentially an agricultural country. In the south, there were many private estates where the Spanish worked. 7,000 owners owned 15 million acres of land. In the north, farmers worked at farms that were not economically reasonable and were very low on their supplies. Half of the agricultural workers were barely living because of starvation. The power and wealth of the Catholic Church was disliked by many, although the change made by the wealthy classes made the countryside's religious beliefs strong. The power of the church was then seen as an essential. The army had many officers. With every one general, there was 100 armed soldiers, and the army was growing progressively. Both the Basques and the Catalans wanted to control their own sides of the region. The Republicans were very compassionate with their demands, especially the demand about the Catalans not being able to be on the grounds of Spain because the Republicans thought they would weaken their country. On February 16, 1936, the Popular Front, which was an alliance, carried new elections which gave them more power. A general named Francisco Franco and a monarchist were sent to a command in the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa. On July 17th, the people living in the Moroccan town of Maia discovered the plan of the rebels, and the rebels were forced to execute their plan earlier. And on July 18th, the Spanish military officers in Morocco started to spread their army onto the mainland of Spain. It started with the Canary Islands with General Franco, who was leading army officers to overthrow the Republican government. In 3 days, the Nationalists captured Morocco, which is most of the northern region of Spain. Due to the actions of the Republicans, when the Nationalists came to gain control of Morocco, the people were left with nothing to protect themselves with. During this time, the Spanish Navy sent warships led by sailors to gain control of a number of coastal cities for the Republic and failed. General Franco then managed to carry his army over from Morocco, and within the next few months, the forces of the Nationalists overran the Republican areas in central and northern Spain. On July 20th of the same year, the Nationalists eventually gained control of the Canary Islands, the Balearic Islands, and the Ebro River. The Nationalists and Republicans were preparing for a fight that may or may not come by the people that don't have the same political beliefs. The violence within the Republicans were minor when the rule of law was restored. The Nationalists created alliances with the troops of Germany, where they also came into possession of tanks and planes. The Republicans received help from the Mexican government and equipment and supplies which were contributed by the Soviet Union. Republicans also were supported by the Popular Front, who forced a change in policy. This policy change was made on August 1936 and was a signed agreement. The policy stated that France and Britain would be ignored by the Germans, the Italians, and the Soviets. On November of 1936, the Nationalists added Madrid to their list of allies. In the summer of 1937, the Nationalists captured the Basque provinces, the Austrias, so when October came, they could have control of the northern coast. On March 7, 1939, a civil war between the communists and the anti-communists broke out in Madrid. By March 28th, all the Republican armies had began to surrender and the Nationalists entered Spain. The Spanish Civil War gave the economy issues. Peasants worked without land in southern Spain and in northern Spain. Peasants were obligated to work to stay afloat. Separatism was another big problem because of the Civil War. Most of the industrial areas wanted to rule themselves in Basque, Catalan, Galician, and Asturian. Their languages started to change and become different from the rest of Spain. By the end of the war, the number of people that were killed was way too many to count, and the number of deaths is what ended the war.